Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about something that I think is incredibly important. Leaving toxic people behind and starting a new chapter in your life. Now, we all have people in our lives who can be negative, critical, and just plain toxic. These people can drain our energy, make us feel bad about ourselves, and hold us back from reaching our full potential. But it can be really hard to cut ties with them, especially if they're friends or family members. So, in this video, I want to provide you with a guide to leaving toxic people behind and starting a new chapter in your life. We'll talk about how to identify toxic people, the effects they can have on your mental health and well-being, and the benefits of leaving them behind. And most importantly, we'll go through the steps you can take to remove toxic people from your life and move on to a happier, healthier chapter. So if you're ready to let go of the negative people in your life and start fresh, keep watching. Identifying toxic people. The first step to leaving toxic people behind is identifying who they are. But what exactly makes someone a toxic person? Well, there are a few common characteristics that toxic people tend to have. First, toxic people are often negative and critical. They might constantly complain, criticize others, or find fault with everything around them. They might also be judgmental, dismissive, or condescending. Second, toxic people tend to be self-centered. They might only talk about themselves and their own problems without ever showing interest or empathy for others. They might also manipulate or exploit others for their own benefit without regard for how it affects those around them. Finally, toxic people can be emotionally draining. They might cause drama, create conflict, or be overly demanding of your time and attention. They might also be unreliable, flaky, or inconsistent in their behavior. Now, it's important to note that everyone can have bad days or negative traits sometimes. But if someone consistently displays these types of behaviors, they might be a toxic person. So, take some time to reflect on the people in your life and think about whether they exhibit any of these characteristics. If so, they might be a toxic person that you need to distance yourself from. In the next section, we'll talk about the effects that toxic people can have on your mental health and well-being, so be sure to stick around. The effects of toxic people. Now that we've talked about how to identify toxic people, let's move on to discussing the effects that these people can have on your mental health and well-being. First and foremost, being around toxic people can be incredibly stressful. They might create drama, cause conflict, or just generally be unpleasant to be around. This can lead to feelings of anxiety, frustration, or even anger. But the effects of toxic people go beyond just stress. They can also have a negative impact on your self-esteem and confidence. If someone is constantly criticizing you, putting you down, or making you feel inadequate, it's easy to start believing those things about yourself. Toxic people can also be manipulative or controlling, which can leave you feeling powerless or trapped. They might try to make decisions for you, guilt you into doing things you don't want to do, or undermine your choices and opinions. All of these factors can lead to feelings of depression, low self-worth, and even physical symptoms like headaches or fatigue. So if you're experiencing any of these effects, it's important to take a step back and evaluate the people in your life. Are they contributing to your well-being, or are they dragging you down? In the next section, we'll talk about the benefits of leaving toxic people behind. The benefits of leaving toxic people. Now that we've talked about the effects that toxic people can have on your mental health and well-being, let's focus on the positive, the benefits of leaving toxic people behind. First and foremost, removing toxic people from your life can be incredibly empowering. It shows that you value yourself enough to prioritize your own well-being and mental health. It also allows you to take control of your life and create the kind of environment that you want to be in. In addition to empowerment, leaving toxic people behind can also lead to increased happiness and positivity. Without the negativity and drama that toxic people can bring, you'll be free to focus on the positive aspects of your life and the relationships that truly matter. Leaving toxic people behind can also improve your mental and physical health. You'll no longer have to deal with the stress and anxiety that toxic people can bring, which can lead to improved sleep, less headaches, and an overall improved sense of well-being. Finally, leaving toxic people behind can create space for new, positive relationships to enter your life. When you're no longer tied down by negative people, you'll have more time and energy to devote to relationships that are fulfilling, supportive, and positive. Overall, there are countless benefits to leaving toxic people behind. While it might be difficult to cut ties with people who have been a part of your life for a long time, the positive changes that can come from it are well worth it. In the next section, we'll talk about the steps you can take to leave toxic people behind and start a new chapter in your life. Steps to leaving toxic people. If you've identified toxic people in your life and are ready to move on from those relationships, here are some steps you can take to do so. Step 1. Set boundaries. If you're not ready to cut ties completely, it's important to set clear boundaries with the toxic people in your life. This might mean limiting the amount of time you spend with them, avoiding certain topics of conversation, or clearly communicating what behaviors are unacceptable. Step 2. Cut ties. If the toxic people in your life are beyond repair or you're ready to move on, cutting ties may be the best option. This can be difficult, but it's important to prioritize your own well-being and mental health. Step 3. Build a support system. Leaving toxic people behind can be challenging, so it's important to have a strong support system in place. This might include friends, family, or a therapist who can provide emotional support and guidance. Step 4. Focus on self-care. After leaving toxic people behind, it's important to focus on taking care of yourself. This might mean prioritizing rest, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or practicing self-care routines like meditation or exercise. Step 5. Reframe your mindset. Leaving toxic people behind can be a major life change, and it's important to reframe your mindset in a positive way. Instead of focusing on what you're losing, focus on what you're gaining: a healthier, happier life free from toxic relationships. Remember, leaving toxic people behind is a process that takes time and effort, but by taking these steps, you can start a new chapter in your life filled with positivity and fulfillment. In the final section, we'll wrap up our guide to leaving toxic people and offer some final thoughts. Moving on. If you've made it to this section, you've taken an important step in leaving toxic people behind and starting a new chapter in your life. While it can be challenging to move on from toxic relationships, it's important to remember that you're not alone. First and foremost, it's important to give yourself time and space to heal. Healing from toxic relationships can be a journey, and it's important to be patient with yourself. This might mean taking time off from work or social engagements, seeking therapy or counseling, or engaging in self-care activities like journaling, exercise, or meditation. It's also important to surround yourself with positive influences. Seek out friends and family members who support you and your decision to leave toxic people behind. You might also consider joining a support group or finding a community of people who have gone through similar experiences. As you move on from toxic relationships, it's important to practice forgiveness, both for yourself and for others. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning harmful behavior, but rather releasing the negative emotions and holding onto resentment that can hold you back. Finally, it's important to take time to reflect on what you've learned from your experience. What red flags did you ignore in toxic relationships? What qualities do you value in healthy relationships? By reflecting on these questions, you can learn from your experience and move forward with a greater understanding of what you need and deserve in relationships. Remember, moving on from toxic relationships is a process, but it's also an opportunity for growth and transformation. By prioritizing your well-being, seeking support, and practicing forgiveness and reflection, you can start a new chapter in your life filled with positivity and fulfillment. Conclusion. Remember, leaving toxic people behind is not easy, but it's important for your mental health and well-being. If you're struggling with toxic relationships, it's important to prioritize yourself and seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. By identifying toxic people, understanding their effects on your life, and taking steps to leave them behind, you can start a new chapter in your life filled with positivity, growth, and healthy relationships. We hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with anyone who might benefit from this information. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.